Hello, 8th graders. We are moving on. So we've been talking about sequencing, translations, translations and reflections, and now we're going to talk about rotations and rigid motions. Maybe you don't know what rigid motions are, but we are going to talk about that. One thing I'm going to say, and I'll say it again at the end of the video. So tomorrow, Thursday, will not be a normal review day. You'll actually be reviewing lessons 1 through 10. And then you'll be taking a quiz because we're halfway through the unit. So that will be just fine. You'll do great. If there are concerns or if you really do bad, there will be opportunities to retake it, so don't worry. But that's what Thursday looks like. So let's get moving on this. So it says to rotate triangle ABC around point D and then label it ABC. So we have ABC here, we're going to rotate it. And now it says rotate triangle ABC around point E, label it ABC. So see, we did 3 different rotations. Now, like before, we cannot just move it back to where it was. So we'd have to complete 2 full rotations, and this is actually not quite 90 degrees, but roughly 90-degree rotation. But now we're going to look at 90 degrees. So it says rotate triangle EFG 90 degrees clockwise about point Z. Label it triangle EFG. So here we've rotated it 90 degrees clockwise. Okay. So now what about rigid motion? Rigid motion is the term for reflections, rotations, and translations. You can have a sequence of rigid motions, which means any combination of reflections, rotations, and translations. Okay, so we talked about sequencing rotations, we talked about sequencing reflections, we talked about sequencing translations, but sequencing rigid motions is all 3. So it says which rigid motion is shown by the figures. Sorry, I don't know why there's in there. Translation, rotation, or reflection, but it can be more than one. So here we have points C looking right next to each other. This one must be reflection because they're reflected over this line. Okay? Sorry, I'm trying to stay out of this light so that it's not super bright on you guys. What about this one? Well, point C is still close to point C, but that wouldn't go right back on itself if you flipped it over. So this one is going to be a reflection and then a rotation. Okay? Last one. Here we just have translation. Okay? So that's going to be the majority of your assignment, is determining what rigid motion is shown. And again, it could be more than one, so you'll have to watch out for that. So your assignment is to complete the Edmodo questions for lessons 9 and 10. Excuse me. Oh, I'm so sorry. Like I said, no normal review tomorrow, but we'll review lessons 1 to 10. You'll take a quiz, and then I'll check how you did, and then next week we'll determine if retakes need to be done. But if you have questions, are confused, concerned, want more practice, just let me know.